All the way back on November 2nd, I made this video talking about how insufferable the seal and title BS was in Destiny 2. Turns out most other players felt the same because enough of you were vocal about it to finally cause some change. Bungie has broken their silence on this stuff, about time. So what are their plans for Season of the Drifter? Are titles going to be worth chasing after again? Let's see what they had to say from the information they released in the last few This Week at Bungie blog posts. First off, we'll start with the stuff that really bothered me about the Dreaming City and Last Wish: cosmetics. Turns out the drop rates are actually getting adjusted. Bungie said, quote, "We have been collecting feedback and are currently working on a change to drop weights associated with vanity items from the Dreaming City and Last Wish raid. The world may never know while Bungie waited until March to make this change, but here we are. I for one just gave up on grinding these titles because when I realized they were all luck based, well, that just didn't appeal to me." A little backstory here, I managed to actually get the Dreaming City ship the second time the Shattered Throne came around, which was very, very early on. It was my first solo run, and I was lucky enough to get it from the final boss. And even before that, I managed to pick up the Dreaming City Sparrow from a random blind well run on my Warlock. Both of these things happened within the very first month and a half of Forsaken, but then I proceeded to spend from mid-October until mid-January grinding for that lovely ghost shell before just giving up. I still feel like something was bugged with the drop rates, but I imagine many of you are in the same boat, and this is a welcome change. The actual values of the drop rates will likely be displayed in the patch notes, similar to how Bungie described the drop chance increase in the Black Armory lore papers from 10 to 20%. Now, the devs also clarified they were additionally looking at Braytech weapon schematics and 1000 voices. I know 1K voices was a huge pain for many of you raiders. I sure as hell don't have the thing, so this is a huge one if you're going for the Last Wish badge. And of course, good old Braytech schematics are getting adjusted as well. I don't think I need to explain how this one's a wee bit overdue, but I think it's good that they haven't totally abandoned it yet. The best course of action here would be for them to let players purchase these schematics from Anna Bray for resonance stems. That'd keep a little bit of the grind in while cutting down on the obnoxious multi-layered RNG. So the Dreaming City and Last Wish vanity items, 1K voices, and the Braytech schematics are all getting adjusted in the near future. They might not make it in the March 5th patch, but from what it sounds like, these changes are coming very soon. But that's not all. The devs have actually spoken out about the Ascendant Primeval, aka the Meatball in Gambit, and those cosmetics, as well as the Light vs. Light Triumph. In the recent Fireteam chat breakdown, Lars Bakken, creative lead at Bungie, said that the team was no longer tying the Meatball to the Curse Week. Instead, the Meatball was going to spawn just as often as all the other bosses all the time. So no more waiting for the max curse week to go around and farm those cosmetics. You'll be able to jump in whenever and have an equal chance at getting the boss, which to me is the best move they could have made. This will give everyone a much better chance to farm those cosmetics without having to worry about the curse week schedule. The Light vs. Light Triumph is also getting updated. The Triumph, which is holding many players back from achieving Dredgen status, can now be progressed by killing any Guardian using a super, not just invaders. So that's going to be much easier now that it works both ways. You'll be able to invade and catch someone using their super and still get progress. It's no secret that this Triumph was definitely the hardest one in the entire bunch to get, since people just didn't like using their supers, so this is a welcomed change. And the last really big news I wanted to cover is Xur. For all of you out there still chasing Forsaken exotics, I'm right there with you by the way, Xur is finally going to sell them in Season of the Drifter. It's just my luck that one of the 3 armor pieces I'm missing is One-Eyed Mask. Rest in peace, I'll never know the true glory of that thing, but at least I'll have a chance to try out those fancy Warlock exotics I just haven't been able to snag. This means I'll return to doing my Xur post on the channel, at least for all of Season 7. I definitely saw this one coming. It was pretty obvious that Bungie's plan was to wait until now to let Xur sell exotics, because they didn't introduce any new armor exotics in Black Armory, so they probably wanted to stretch out the old stuff. I still strongly believe that there needs to be a real duplicate drop protection implemented. That'd be a quality of life change I think everyone could appreciate. These are all really great changes, and I cannot even begin to explain how relieved I am to hear all of the updates to cosmetics. I think Bungie definitely learned their lesson when it comes to RNG and seals, since the Blacksmith title was a huge improvement over any of the Forsaken ones. They tied cosmetics to triumphs just like I hoped they would, and pretty much everything besides the rare bounty stuff was pretty easily obtainable, and I saw people get Blacksmith way before Cursebreaker, which was pretty hilarious. I hope they continue this trend in Season of the Drifter, but I kind of wonder if there will even be a title since Dredgen already exists. I could see them skipping the title stuff and returning to it in Season 7, like they skipped the armor exotics in Season of the Forge. Guess we'll know in a few days, but until then, thank you everyone so much for watching.